Right now, there is an independent real estate agent working from a corner table at some local coffee shop, and they are closing 3 times as many homes as a massive, fully staffed brokerage team.
Right.
And the crazy part is they're pulling off this incredible volume by basically letting a robot talk to their clients while they sleep.
It's really a complete inversion of how the industry has traditionally operated, you know? We're looking at this scenario where sheer hustle and like massive headcounts are just being entirely outperformed by surgical automated precision.
Yeah. Welcome to today's deep dive. We've gathered a really fascinating stack of sources for you. Today we're looking at articles and tactical use case notes from real estate tech publications like Lofty, Structurally, HouseCanary, Inman, and Ars Media.
A lot of heavy hitters in the real estate tech space.
Exactly. And our mission today is to unpack this specific stack of 6 AI tools that a very small, very savvy group of agents are using to multiply their deal flow by 3.
Which is huge.
It is. But what makes this deep dive so crucial for you, the listener, is that this isn't some playbook for the mega brokers with unlimited venture capital.
Right, right.
If you're an independent agent or you're running a lean team of, say, 1 to 5 people, and you are trying to figure out how to compete with the institutional giants, this is your blueprint. So, okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, to really understand why these specific tools are so incredibly effective, we first have to look at the structural vulnerability they're designed to exploit.
The weak spot.
Exactly. The data in these sources points to a glaring, almost unbelievable weakness in the market. The average lead response time among real estate agents is over 47 hours.
Wait, 47 hours?
47 hours.
Wow. I mean, think about that from the consumer's perspective. We're in an economy where you expect an Uber to arrive in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And a hot meal to be dropped at your door in 20. But a home buyer expressing interest in a $500,000 asset is waiting almost 2 full days just to get a text back.
It sounds absurd when you put it like that.
It's essentially like throwing a massive open house, leaving the front door wide open, but then ignoring everyone who walks into the foyer for 2 whole days.
Right.
You're just sitting in the kitchen, filling out paperwork, while prospective buyers wander in and out of the living room saying, "Hello, is anyone here?"
That open house analogy captures the absurdity of it perfectly. But, you know, we also have to look at the mechanics of why that 47-hour gap actually exists.
It's not just laziness.
No, not at all. Independent agents aren't intentionally ignoring their clients. They are simply crushed by the physical limits of time and space. I mean, you literally cannot be in 2 places at once.
Right. If you're driving across town to show a property.
Exactly. Or if you are negotiating an inspection contingency on the phone, you physically cannot respond to a new web lead the second it hits your inbox. The administrative chokehold directly cannibalizes the time needed for client acquisition.
You're wearing 15 hats. You're the driver, the therapist, the marketer, the negotiator, and the secretary.
Yeah.
And that 47-hour delay is the exact weakness that these AI tools are weaponizing. The agents closing 3 times, the deals aren't like fundamentally better at selling houses.
No, they've just eliminated the communication gap.
Which means, chronologically, the very first thing you have to do to protect your pipeline is stop the leak at the top of the funnel.
Exactly. And that brings us to the first phase of the AI tech stack, which handles the exact moment a lead enters your ecosystem.
Okay, what's the tool?
The sources point heavily to a platform called Lofty, which was formerly known as Chime. It operates as an AI-powered CRM, but we really need to move past the traditional definition of a CRM here.
Because historically, agents just use those as digital filing cabinets, right? Where cold leads just sit there and gather dust.
Exactly, just a list of names and emails. But Lofty operates as a behavioral tracking engine.
Okay, let's look at the mechanism of how it actually tracks behavior, because I think this is where the real advantage lies.
Yeah.
Instead of just holding a name, Lofty is measuring intent in real time. So if a lead clicks on a link for a 3-bedroom house in a specific zip code, the AI logs it. If they return to that same listing 3 times at midnight.
And linger on the photos of the kitchen for 5 minutes.
Yes. The system scores that behavior.
And what it does is it bubbles that specific high-intent buyer to the absolute top of your dashboard the next morning.
That's incredible.
It filters out the casual window shoppers who are just, looking at mansions they can't afford, and isolates the people who are mathematically demonstrating that they are ready to transact.
I look at it like a bouncer at a very exclusive club.
Oh, I like that.
The bouncer is quietly watching the crowd outside, observing body language, seeing who actually has their wallet out, and only unhooking the velvet rope for the highly motivated buyers. You, the agent, never have to waste time talking to the people who are just loitering on the sidewalk.
The bouncer isolates the target, yes, but you still have to initiate the conversation immediately to beat that 47-hour average.
Right.
And that is where the handoff to the second tool structurally happens.
Structure.
Yeah. Structurally takes over the immediate communication by acting as an AI assistant that texts and emails your leads 24/7. And the crucial mechanism here is that it actively qualifies the buyer through conversation.
Okay, I have to push back on the reality of implementing this, though,
Go for it.
because the personal brand is the lifeblood of an independent agent. If I have a piece of software texting my hard-earned leads at 2 a.m., I risk plunging straight into the uncanny valley.
Sure.
The moment a potential buyer realizes they're talking to a chatbot, they feel alienated, the trust evaporates, and they take their business elsewhere. Doesn't that risk alienating a potential buyer?
That is actually the single most common psychological barrier agents have against adopting this tech.
It makes sense.
It does, because it stems from our experience with older decision tree chatbots, the ones that force you to reply, press 1 for sales, press 2 for support.
Us, the worst.
Right. But structurally does not use decision trees. It utilizes advanced natural language processing, or NLP. It understands semantic context.
How?
Well, if a lead texts your number at 10 p.m. and says, "Does this property have a fenced yard? We have a golden retriever and need a good school district," the AI doesn't just reply with a generic link to your website.
It's actually parsing the specific constraints of the buyer's life.
Precisely. The NLP engine reads the intent behind the text, cross-references those constraints against the MLS data for that specific property, and generates a conversational, bespoke reply.
Wow.
It'll say something like, "Yes, the backyard is fully fenced, perfect for a retriever. It's also zoned for Lincoln Elementary. Would you like me to schedule a tour for you this Thursday?"
That sounds totally human.
It mimics a highly competent human assistant who has memorized your entire portfolio.
What that actually looks like on the ground is the total elimination of the cold lead graveyard.
Yeah.
Every agent has a spreadsheet of people they've given up on because texting someone for the 8th time with no reply is emotionally exhausting.
It really is.
This AI just quietly, relentlessly works that graveyard in the background, converting completely dead leads into warm appointments on your calendar without you lifting a finger.
Exactly. So let's follow the life cycle of this client. The AI bouncer found them, the AI assistant texted them, qualified their needs, and booked the tour.
Okay.
Now, the digital realm ends, and you, the human being, have to physically show up at the property.
You're opening the front door, you're walking them through the house, and immediately the administrative chokehold begins all over again.
Oh, yeah.
The clients are rapid-firing a million thoughts at you. They hate the backsplash in the kitchen. They want to know if the roof is still under warranty. They're willing to offer $10,000 under asking, but only if the seller leaves the washer and dryer.
It's a lot of data.
It is.
Yeah.
And the physical bottleneck here is that to capture all this data, you have to pull out your phone and frantically type notes with your thumbs.
Which severs the interpersonal connection.
Right.
You break eye contact, you stop actively listening, and the rapport you are trying to build with the buyer is compromised by the friction of data entry.
So to solve that specific physical bottleneck, the sources introduced tool number 3, Otter.ai.
Which is great.
Now, Otter is famous in corporate boardrooms for transcribing Zoom calls, but its application in a physical home tour is brilliant. You simply hit record on the Otter app on your phone, drop it into your jacket pocket, and forget about it.
Yep.
It uses voice separation to record the entire chaotic conversation as you walk from room to room.
The transcription is helpful, sure, but the actual leverage comes from its intent extraction.
What do you mean by intent extraction?
The AI analyzes the raw transcript and auto-generates a structured list of action items. It pulls out the specific deliverables from the casual conversation.
Oh, wow.
So when you get back to your car and pull your phone out of your pocket, Otter has already drafted a bulleted to-do list. 1. Check roof warranty with listing agent. 2. Draft offer at -$10. 3. Include appliance contingency for washer dryer.
Wait, are we talking about these tools just giving the agent a little nudge like a fancy spell check, or is this fundamentally changing their job description?
That's a crucial distinction from the source material. These tools do not merely augment tasks, they replace them entirely.
Replacing them.
Yes. Taking meeting notes is entirely offloaded. Your entire post-tour workflow is categorized before you even turn the key in the ignition.
That's massive. Okay, so let's say the tour goes perfectly, they want to buy the house, but first, They need you to list their current home.
Naturally.
Now you're back at your desk, staring at a blank screen, trying to write an engaging MLS description. Which brings us to tool number 4, ChatGPT or Claude.
Right, because blank page syndrome is a massive drain on an agent's weekly bandwidth.
For sure.
Trying to summon the creative energy at 8 p.m. to invent a new, exciting way to describe a charming bungalow for the 100th time this year is a really poor use of cognitive resources.
But the mistake most people make is treating ChatGPT like a fancy autocomplete. They type, write a description for 123 Main Street, and they get back a generic, flowery paragraph that sounds like a robot wrote it.
Exactly.
To actually extract the value here, you have to master prompt engineering. You have to feed the AI a highly specific, multi-layered framework.
The quality of the output is entirely dependent on the constraints you place on the input.
Exactly. So you might structure the prompt in 4 parts. First, the persona. Act as an elite luxury real estate copywriter. Second, the constraints. Write a strict 150-word MLS description. Third, the target audience. Focus the tone on millennial first-time buyers. And fourth, the features. Highlight the newly updated chef's kitchen, the proximity to the downtown transit hub, and ensure the language strictly adheres to fair housing guidelines.
And when you engineer the prompt with that level of granularity, the AI doesn't just augment your writing process again, it replaces it entirely. It generates professional, compliant, highly targeted marketing copy in 3 seconds. We are moving from the agent being a creator of content to being an editor of content.
Which saves so much time.
You are buying back hours of your week that used to be lost to mundane drafting.
Okay, so the listing description is written. Now we hit phase 6 of the transaction cycle, which is where independent agents traditionally get absolutely crushed by the massive brokerages. Market analysis and visual marketing.
Yeah, that's the big hurdle.
The institutional giants have entire floors of data analysts running pricing models and in-house Madison Avenue-style ad agencies building their brochures.
But the independent agent has to match that institutional firepower from their laptop. For the pricing and data analysis side, the sources point to tool number 5, HouseCanary.
Because when a client asks, what is my home worth? The traditional human method is to build a CMA, a comparative market analysis.
Right.
You spend 2 hours digging through the MLS, pulling up 3 or 4 similar homes that sold in the last 90 days, and then making manual subjective adjustments. Well, this one has a slightly bigger yard, so I'll add $5,000.
And the fundamental flaw in the human CMA is that it relies almost entirely on lagging indicators.
It looks at what happened 3 months ago.
Exactly. HouseCanary fundamentally shifts this by using AI to analyze massive real-time data sets. It's not just looking at recent sales, it's factoring in leading indicators.
Like what?
It analyzes micro-neighborhood search velocity, localized permit polls, and historical price per square foot trends down to the specific census block.
Wow.
It weights all these variables instantly to generate an incredibly accurate, visually stunning valuation report.
So you walk into the listing presentation, handing them a pricing model that looks like it was generated by a Wall Street quant firm.
Yeah.
And then for the visual marketing side, you pair that with tool number 6, Canva AI.
Yeah.
Canva's been around forever, but their newly integrated AI features democratize high-end graphic design.
They really do, because the visual expectation of the modern homebuyer is incredibly high right now.
So high.
They are used to algorithmic perfection on Instagram and Pinterest.
But with Canva's magic edit tools, you don't need a degree in Photoshop to meet that standard.
Yeah.
If you took a photo of the front of the house and the sky is gloomy and overcast, you literally brush over the sky with your mouse, type, make it a sunny, clear blue sky, and the AI replaces it seamlessly.
Basically magic.
It can remove a trash can from the driveway. Then, with one click, it automatically resizes and reformats that perfect image into a vertical Instagram reel, a horizontal Facebook post, and a printable PDF mailer.
You are producing premium agency quality collateral in minutes at a fraction of the cost.
So if you put this all together, it's basically like an independent agent carrying a Wall Street data analyst and a Madison Avenue ad agency right in their pocket.
That's a great way to put it.
But let's actually look at the cost, because a listener hearing about predictive CRM bouncers, NLP text assistants, voice-separating transcribers, prompt-engineered copywriters, Wall Street pricing algorithms, and automated graphic designers is probably calculating a massive enterprise software bill in their head right now.
And the financial accessibility of this stack is actually the most disruptive part of the entire equation.
It's not millions of dollars.
No. These are not systems that require venture capital or a six-figure IT budget to deploy. The baseline tools like ChatGPT and Canva offer incredibly robust free tiers.
Okay.
For the premium subscriptions, you might spend maybe $50 a month for Otter or an advanced Claude account, and perhaps up to $200 a month for the specialized platforms like Structurally or HouseCanary.
So for a couple $100s a month, a solo business owner is essentially hiring a 247 assistant, a copywriter, a data analyst, and a graphic designer.
Exactly. It is a fraction of the cost of hiring a single entry-level human employee.
Which explains how small teams are suddenly punching so far above their weight class. They have drastically lowered their overhead while tripling their output capacity.
But this introduces a very pressing timeline for the agents who are currently listening to this and doing everything the old manual way.
The clock is ticking.
It is. The sources provide a stark forecast regarding the macro impact of this tech adoption. If you refuse to implement these tools, your business will not collapse tomorrow.
Right. Relationships still matter.
Real estate is fundamentally built on human relationships. The clients who loved you last year will still call you next month. But the sources point to a very specific 3-year horizon where the landscape shifts permanently.
Why 3 years?
The 3-year timeline is dictated by the flywheel effect of real estate pipelines. Pipelines are not built overnight. They are constructed months and years in advance.
Right.
The web lead you missed today because of that 47-hour delay. That is the closing you won't have in 6 months. And the closing you miss in 6 months is the referral network you won't have access to in 3 years. In 36 months, the compounding effect of lost opportunities will materialize.
That's a scary thought.
The agents who ignored the AI efficiency will look up, realize their pipeline is completely dried up, and they simply will not have the capital or the market share to catch up to the AI-enabled agent who has been scooping up every lead in seconds.
So what does this all mean? How do you actually execute this without getting completely overwhelmed? Because hearing about 6 revolutionary platforms at once is a recipe for analysis paralysis.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're an overwhelmed listener making $80,000 a year running from showing to showing, you can't just pause your business for a month to learn 6 new software ecosystems.
No, the absolute worst strategy is attempting to boil the ocean. Implementing all 6 tools simultaneously will break your current workflows and cause chaos.
So where do they start?
The tactical advice derived from the sources is a highly focused start here approach. Pick just one free tool and one paid tool from the list to build initial momentum.
Focus on the lowest hanging fruit first.
Precisely. For your free tool, integrate Claude or ChatGPT strictly for your MLS listing descriptions.
Easy enough.
It requires zero technical setup, there are no APIs to connect, and it will immediately hand you back 2 or 3 hours of your week. You will feel the psychological win of automation instantly.
And for the paid tool?
For the paid tool, you have to directly attack the single biggest vulnerability in your business, the 47-hour response gap. Invest the monthly fee into Structurally.
Because it plugs the leak.
Yes, it is an upfront cost, but the math is undeniable. The very first time that AI texts a cold web lead at 11:30 p.m. on a Saturday, qualifies them, and books a Sunday morning showing that eventually closes,
Yeah.
the commission from that single transaction pays for the software for the next decade. You plug the biggest hole in the boat first.
One free tool to eliminate admin friction, and one paid tool to weaponize your speed. I love how actionable that is.
Keep it simple to start.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. I want to leave you with one final concept to mull over as you look at the trajectory of your own career. Throughout this entire deep dive, we've focused heavily on how AI gives you an incredible, almost unfair edge in speed and efficiency today. But logically, project this out 5 years.
Right.
What happens to the real estate industry when every agent, from the solo indie to the massive broker, is using the exact same tech stack? What happens when that 47-hour delay drops to absolute zero across the board for everyone?
That's the real question.
Once speed and beautiful marketing are ubiquitous, once they are no longer a competitive advantage, the ultimate differentiator in this industry is going to aggressively revert back to the one thing a large language model can never fake.
Empathy.
Genuine, hyper-personalized human empathy and local, boots-on-the-ground intuition. And AI can instantly text a buyer to confirm a showing, but it cannot sit at a kitchen table and hold their hand when they're crying over a failed inspection.
No, it can't.
It can't walk into a living room and instantly sense the emotional tension of a couple going through a divorce sale.
Only a human can do that.
Exactly. By adopting AI right now, you aren't replacing yourself. You are aggressively clearing out all the robotic administrative noise so that you are free to step back into the foyer, welcome your guests, and actually have the time to be profoundly, uniquely human.